Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angela Brittain, and I'm the CSA manager for County Line Harvest, an organic specialty produce farm growing in Petaluma and Thermal, California. And today we're talking about delivering convenience and scaling your farm from wholesale to direct to market. So, before we dive into how we flipped our business from wholesale to direct to market, I'll give you some background on myself and on County Line Harvest. County Line is an organic produce farm specializing in mostly salad and cooking greens, Italian heirloom chicories in the winter, baby root vegetables, radishes, beets, carrots, all of those good things. Our main markets are Los Angeles and the Bay Area, so San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley areas. County Line Harvest was founded by David Retzky in 2000 on 6 acres on the Sonoma Marin County line, which is where the farm gets its name. In 2009, County Line added a Southern California farm to meet the demands of their clients and to create the ability to farm year round. So the Southern California farm goes October through June, and the Petaluma farm goes all year round usually. And today, County Line grows on 35 acres in Petaluma and 120 acres in Thermal. For the first 20 years of the farm's existence, they sold primarily to chefs and distributors, and as well as at farmers markets. And then in March of 2020, the farm established their first CSA program ever to meet the needs of the public during kind of the unknowns of the pandemic, and also to ensure that the food that had been growing for several months wouldn't just go to waste. And this is kind of when we really began selling direct to market. A little bit more about our farm. Both of our farms are certified organic through Marin Organic Certified Agriculture. It's very, very important to the farm owners to be good stewards of the land. So the organic certification is really the baseline of the practices the farmers put into use in order to grow the food. It's also very important to customers to know what they buy from us will never have pesticides, it'll never be GMO seeds, and that the food is cultivated with the land and the plant's health in mind. Our Petaluma farm is part of the Sonoma Land Trust, which means it will be agricultural land forever and it can't be developed. And I'd also say, community is pretty fundamental to the farm success over the years. I think the farm owners try to create the best work environment that they can for their farm workers, establish real relationships with their buyers and other farmers that they know. It's important for any company establishing itself in a community to go and be a part of that community. And whether that's connecting with local business owners at the markets or just people who are buying vegetables from you at the markets, going into restaurants and groceries in your area and showing them your produce, just so as a way to get yourself out there. And, I think that's been a big part of County Line's story throughout the years. So in comes 2020 and everything changes. The decision to pivot direct to market came pretty fast. Megan Strom, who's the farm's co-owner, made the decision to offer a CSA program when the farm lost about 70% of their usual orders in the first or second week of March 2020, which, as everybody knows, is kind of when everything shut down because of COVID. Everything was down, everything felt pretty destabilized. So we wanted to offer CSA boxes to the public as a way to both safely access vegetables during the pandemic, but also to keep our employees working and as a way to make sure that the food that had been growing in the fields for months wouldn't be in vain. So we began offering CSA boxes, and we were just very lucky to get a lot of press. People started to reach out to us, offering their space, and it honestly just kind of grew very organically from there. Like, people just started trying the boxes and talking about them and telling their friends and posting about it. And I think the first week, the farm filled about 2,000 boxes, and it was absolutely mad. It was so much larger than we ever would have anticipated, but it was just, answering people's needs, I think, in a time of great confusion. And, it was like a ray of hope, like, oh, we can support these farmers, we can get fresh produce and, can try this new thing while we're all hunkering down. So we began offering CSA boxes. Like I said, we linked up with local chefs and cafes that wanted to offer us their space, started selling our boxes to retailers who would then resell them to their community. And we've been able to keep the distribution going ever since we started it. Some of the best practices I've learned through overseeing this program are that, one, buyers really do pay for convenience. I mentioned earlier how we have retailers who buy boxes from us to then resell to their clients. And our retailers who deliver boxes tend to be very successful because people love to pay for delivery. And it's all about, offering those flexible options, I think. Number two, having a smooth ordering system makes all the difference. Shout out to Barn to Door for making our CSA ordering super easy and simple, both for our customers and for us. It really is a game changer to have a website that just offers smooth systems for everyone. And then on the other side of the coin, when it comes to convenience, is making it convenient for us and our farmers as well. We offer 3 sizes of CSA boxes. We like to keep it really simple. We don't do customizations or substitutions, but we will substitute items if we run out of one crop and want to replace it with another. People know that they're going to get something that's equally as awesome. And that's just to make it work for everyone. Listening to your buyers is so important because oftentimes they give you ideas that you hadn't thought of, which can really help you round out your offerings really nicely and just, maybe cater to people in a way that you hadn't considered before. One major feedback we were getting was that people wanted to know what was in the boxes. I think in the food world, we are used to people who shop at our booth every week and know what certain items are, but there was really a process of education on our part to let people know what these weird things were that we were putting in their box. So we started publishing weekly box lists on social and in our weekly newsletters, and people have responded very positively to that. And in another case, people were saying that our small size option was still too much food for them, and they were kind of like turned off from buying the CSAs because they didn't want to waste so much food. So we started offering a smaller size box, and that's been really popular. It's gauged for a single person rather than maybe like 2 people. And a lot of people who kind of fell off from buying our boxes came back because, we were just offering something that was a little more suitable to them. I'd say listening to your customers is a huge part of selling your products and just keeping it interesting and changing up your inventory from time to time. And that leads us to how convenience is the driving factor for getting products out to the consumer. In Los Angeles, convenience is very important to people. LA is very spread out, it's very sprawly. So it was important for us to offer pickup locations throughout the city and to find a way to make delivery a possibility as well. As I mentioned earlier, we teamed up with restaurants and shop owners who offered to lend us space to distribute our boxes. So these became our pop-up locations where we distribute pre-ordered boxes that people bought on our website. And so when we were establishing these pop-up locations, we said, okay, let's make sure that they're spread out enough throughout the city that somebody within maybe a 3 or 4 mile radius wouldn't overlap with 2 locations, trying to geographically spread out as much as possible. And then we also established retailer partnerships, which range from local coffee shops to specialty delivery businesses, bakeries, and these folks will buy boxes from us and then they resell to their clients. And so they kind of also maximize their capacity to spread out because while we might not have the means to organize a fleet of drivers to deliver 500 or 600 boxes, these retailers who buy boxes from us do. And so it just helps us kind of get the food out to larger and larger regions than we would be able to do on our own. So there's really a value in connecting with other businesses in that way. Another way that we like to kind of offer convenience to our customers is offering pre-order for some of our farmers markets location in addition to kind of one-offs throughout the city, letting people do their other shopping at the markets and just kind of coming and getting their bulk of veggies from us. And then, just emphasizing the fact that it's really important to have multiple options for buyers so they can really choose what works best for them. With the establishment of the CSA program also came our donation box program. We recognize that it has been our time of great importance to help the community, and donation boxes is kind of our way of doing that. We partner with local organizations to distribute both unclaimed CSA boxes, plus any purchased donation boxes, plus sometimes even just excess produce to these organizations pretty much every week, as a way to just eliminate food waste and just keep the food going to people where it needs to go. Another way, so we've done that pretty much since the beginning of the CSA. teaming up with tons of local organizations in Los Angeles. And then we have also hosted box drives, which have been really, really successful. We team up with local organizations and ask our buyers to purchase donation boxes. So, for instance, right now we're hosting a box drive for a local organization called Know Us Without You. That is a charity organization aimed at helping the most disenfranchised hospitality workers here in LA. They currently serve something like 1,600 families a week. So we put out a call to raise 100 boxes to send them. And I put out a call on Monday and I checked this morning and we've raised 102 boxes. So, woo, but that's all to say, it's a great way to get involved with your community by teaming up with local organizations to distribute food to those who could really use a hand. The donation boxes have been a pretty substantial part of the CSA program. And honestly, yeah, we just love to do it. We updated our website over the summer to allow us to simplify our shop and also give people more of a look into who County Line is with more detailed web pages. We created a video for the landing page so people could see our farms. And this all is very, very new to the farm. But we mostly use Instagram and MailChimp as our two major marketing platforms. We really, really lean into talking to people through Instagram. We're on there pretty much every day. And we send a once weekly newsletter through MailChimp, unless we're having one-off events like a subscription sale or a box drive. We keep it pretty simple. And I think that tends to help our open rates because people know we're not going to just bog them down with, promotional emails. We also like to send out a newsletter whenever anyone signs up. That's an automation we have through MailChimp, where it's just a very simple newsletter that links out to our About page and just gives people, hey, thanks for being here, information about the farm, and, not to bog people down with too many promotional offers. You know what I mean? Barn to Door, I would say, has honestly really changed the way that we market and sell to people over the last year because of things like the MailChimp integration and just how simple the shop is, and having like a subscription software has just made it feel all the more real that this program is like really standing on its two legs. So those are all pretty new changes to us, but it's definitely paying off. MailChimp has really empowered us to expand our reach. We just can have a little bit more insight into who we're reaching, who's opening our emails. You can honestly see how much revenue you're making per email, which makes it feel all the more worthwhile when you're like, oh, is anyone opening my emails? You can actually see that people do, and people want to be engaged. So I would say every week we are packing and distributing about 1 to 2,000 boxes. And then in addition to that, there's a whole wing of wholesale that the farm still has going on that I don't even have any insight on, except for what, I see at markets and such. But so all of our kind of individual box sales are being filtered through Barn to Door. And, all of a sudden County Line has a huge Instagram following after a year. Last March, the farm had 1,400 followers, and now we have something like 12,600 followers. So there's been a lot more engagement over social media than I think the farm has ever had, than I know the farm has ever had in the past, of people just being like, hey, I just wanted to tell you I love your produce, or what is this weird vegetable, or, people sending orders, complaints, all these things through Instagram. So that's definitely been a huge change. And it's just been fun to see people like really interested in where their food comes from and, engaging and reacting to what we post. We tend to have around a 50% click-through rate with our weekly newsletter. And again, I think that's because people know what we're sending them is important. So that 50% is reflective of our entire subscribed audience, which is about 2,300 people. So, even taking into consideration the people who never open any of their emails, it's not just like filtered down to the people who always open our emails. So I feel like that's a pretty strong click-through rate because think about how many emails you get in a day, and people just always look for ours because they know it's worth opening. And again, our weekly newsletter, all it includes is, a little update on our farm, a photo, a box list, a button to go buy the box, and then a little recipe roundup of 3 recipes that people can get inspiration from for their weekly box. And so I think that's been a pretty good success. And then another success is that we've donated something upwards of 1,500 boxes, which is probably, even a couple hundred numbers underneath what it really might be, if I were to guess. But since spring of 2020, and that's through the generosity of people, helping us pay forward some of this produce. So it's been a really huge year of growth for the farm. And, it'll be exciting to see how the farm continues to grow in years to come. Which brings us to goals and visions for the future. Obviously, first and foremost, for the farm, maintaining the organic land stewardship is very important. And honestly, the baseline for the practices, continuing to provide local produce at convenient locations. Like I said earlier, grow the food in a way that's healthy for the plant, for the planet, and for the people. And, just continuing to be a part of the community, and so far as listening to people's feedback, listening to, you know, um, our chefs and our distributors who are saying, hey, why don't you try and grow this? Like, I'd love to see this product at the markets or in your availability list. And just trying to have like real reciprocal relationships with people in order to, establish a community. And yeah, no one will know what the future holds, but hopefully the farm can, yeah, continue to do its thing and grow good food for California and beyond. Yeah, that kind of wraps everything up. You can check out more about County Line Harvest on our website, which is countylineharvest.com, on our Instagram at county.line.harvest. We have a barn to door spotlight and podcast that you can check out as well. And yeah, I just want to thank you all for joining me. And I hope that you're able to gain some value from this presentation.